Hey guys, Moose here. Welcome to another episode of Life is Feudal Forest Village. I hope you have enjoyed your holiday, assuming you were in the US. If you're not, then 4th of July probably means nothing to you. Hopefully you guys have some holiday around this time, though. It's always nice to have a holiday now and then to relax, assuming you get those off. I did get it off, but I'm taking the week off anyway, so I was relaxing. Took some time just to do stuff for myself and cook, which I don't do as much as I'd like, but my kitchen's not that great. I could do with a better kitchen. I will have one in a couple of years. I already know where I'm moving, but it's still a ways off, so it's not exactly something I can really look forward to at the moment. My mentality, and this goes for pretty much anything in life, is if you have something to look forward to, you can use it for motivation if you need it. But a lot of the time, at least for me, I'm already motivated to do things that I need to do generally anyway, just by desire to have more money. as maybe, I don't know if it's really selfish, maybe greedy. I'm not really greedy, I don't think. But I'm kind of already motivated by just a general desire to be wealthy, have more money to spend on things, as well as basically have security and just not have to worry about, oh well, what if I get sick, or what if someone in my family gets sick. And usually all that kind of takes care of any motivation that I would need. But for most stuff, particularly games, if they're coming out, I just don't think about it. Like, if it's not out yet, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not, like, every time I try to think, like, hey, what am I looking forward to right now? I actually have to stop and think about it for a minute. Some of them are easy because I've talked about it fairly often on here. Ace Combat 7, Ace Combat Remasters, I talked about those recently. I'm looking forward to Fallout 76. And that's about it. I'm sure there's other stuff, but I put it out of my mind. Devil May Cry 5 I'll play, probably. But, like, I just put it out of my mind. I'm not focused on it. And life is a lot easier and better, I've found, when you focus on what you have and not what you want. It's fine to have things you want, but don't make those the objective of your life. Focus on what you have, because otherwise you're just going to be constantly irritated or angry or sad or frustrated that you don't have what you want, because there's always something that you don't have that you want, and that's always going to be true. So in my opinion, it's better just to, relax and enjoy what you have to a degree. So anyway, I am looking forward to having a better kitchen and better home in general, and the rent will not be lower, but it will be paid to family rather than to someone else. So I'm not really, like, I'm spending money, but the money's not going away. If that makes any sense. Plus, I think odds are, by the time that happens, I'm probably going to be in a lot better financial shape anyway. I'm already in pretty okay financial shape. No, you know what? No, I'm in really good financial shape. I own half of a house in San Diego. I have a good amount of money saved up, but it's in, like, retirement funds, so that doesn't really count. But that's savings. That's money that's put away for later. If that's not savings, what is? And then the one point, not to get into my personal finances too much, but I don't really have that much just straight saved on hand, but I haven't looked recently. It just got kind of depleted because I had a bunch of stuff come up, and I invested in some upgrades of things and furniture and stuff, so I was a little stupid with my money for a bit. Not one specific purchase, I just spent more than I should have in general. Not that I'm in any trouble, but yeah, anyway, point is, probably things will be better by that point. For a number of reasons. I don't know how I got on this tangent, I can't remember. But yeah, I did sous vide ribs, which was not for me, that was for Karen. I don't eat ribs, really. so that was all her. And I did a bunch of prep for stuff for me, but I haven't actually cooked anything for myself yet. It's mainly going to be pizza, but, man, what else did I... Really everything for me was just pizza? I had some steak too, but I haven't marinated that yet. I think, yeah, I pretty much just got... Oh no, I got sausage, but that's really for pizza too. Italian sausage to put on. I got chicken, Italian sausage, pepperoni, mozzarella, obviously, and pizza dough. Which I could... pizza dough is super easy to make yourself, for the record, but also I could just buy it from a store, and it's literally exactly the same, because it's like the simplest recipe that is known to man, basically, so there's kind of no reason to actually make it by hand for me, anyway. Like, if I had a kid, I'd do it to be like, hey, look, this is what goes into pizza dough, and then we'd have pizza. But, it's really basically just flour and water, straight up, like, that's almost all it is. So there's really no need for me to get in there and, like, knead it up with my hands and mix it and everything. I'd rather just buy it from the store. It's already enough of a pain in the ass to spread it out on the tray or whatever you want to call it that goes into the oven. That part's kind of annoying. That's something I need to get better at doing. It's one of those things with food where at one point I was good at doing it, but I kind of forgot how to do it properly, and now I'm, like, mediocre. Why are there so many animals? Like, it's just we don't have anyone hunting, that's all it is, right? Or we do, or no, if we did, it would only be on one side of the town. But yeah, there's like 1 million animals in town. I kill one and 2 more pop up, it's crazy. I'll take the meat though, I'm not gonna complain about that. Was this the upgrade? Yeah, it was, because it's finished, yeah, okay, so that's the upgrade. Good. My memory is god-awful, and I have been very busy. Oh, but yeah, the one crappy thing about the vacation is I've had to reply to work emails a few times now, because people... I'm not going to go into detail, but there were some decisions made that I'm not really happy about, and I'll probably bitch about once I get back into the office. Just things that are... things that if I wanted to basically do damage to my standing at the company, which that sounds way more formal than it is, but basically just make people not thrilled with me. I would say an emergency on, or lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency for me. Situations like that. But you can't, there's people you can't say that to, so that's where I am right now, unfortunately. Which is another reason why I want to be wealthy, because then I can have my own business and run that, which I'd be so much happier to do. So I actually noticed, so this is a random thing, I didn't know Discord was headquartered in San Francisco. So I actually thought, like a few weeks back, I actually thought about applying for a job with them, because they have a couple openings that I could probably do pretty well. Mainly data analysis I think I'd be good at. And I have most of the skills. I don't have the specific knowledge about certain aspects of it, but I have all of the... I basically have all the skills required to do it. I could say that about a surprising number of positions just because I know how to use a computer and do on a continuous basis. But it doesn't really make sense for me to switch jobs right now. It's not a logical choice, so I didn't, but... That kind of company, I think... not saying anything at all about Discord as a product, I'm not talking about Discord as a user, but looking at what I know about the company and looking at what they seem to be projecting and showing people about it, Discord as a company, I am pretty sure it's an awesome place to work. It seems like a really cool place to work, and they seem like a really cool company. So I like, most of me wanting to apply to work there wasn't that, like, oh, yeah, that looks like a good paying job that I would love to do. And I would love to do the job. Data analysis is really interesting and can be a lot of fun if you're working with interesting data sets and trying to figure out problems and solve them that people don't necessarily have a good grasp of. I think it scratches that problem-solving itch that I have, which I really enjoy. All of that aside, it just seems like a cool place to work, and that's really what got me interested. That, and it's, hey, you know, I know Discord, I know this market, I understand gamers, I am a gamer, I am in that segment, I get it. The job that I'm working now, I'm not one of their customers. I could never be one of their customers, and that's fine, I'm not supposed to be, I'm one of their employees. But it's, you know, it's a little different when you're working on something you really like, you have a connection to, and you can be, not that I'm not proud of my work, but, you know, it's a little bit different to be like, yeah, I work at Discord. I'm really proud of their product. Anyway, I don't know. Point is, Discord seems like a really cool company. That's all. So, I wish, like, I could clone myself and work there and also keep my current job, but I have that feeling about a lot of things. I would love to work more, but I just don't have the energy to really do that, and it would not be feasible for me to take on... Well, I mean, I am doing a second job. You're watching a YouTube video right now. That is my second job, basically. But it wouldn't be feasible for me to take on another job. But sometimes I genuinely want to. And that's not really a place I ever thought I'd be earlier in life. I never saw myself as that kind of a person, but it's fun to solve problems, you know? Like, it's fun to work on something and develop something and improve it and be productive. I enjoy being productive. That's what it boils down to. A lot of the time, I think I use games as a substitute for that to a degree, where I'm like, well, you know, I'm not actually doing anything productive, but hey, I got to level 50 on this class in this game. So I wasn't 50 yesterday, I was level 40 or something. You know, like, there were steps and I made progress, and that progress is like a reward loop for me. And even if it's not meaningful progress or meaningful productivity, it still scratches that itch, basically. Factorio does that. Final Fantasy XIV does that, which I talked about, I think, last episode, if I remember correctly. It's something that I think that's probably one of the major sources of enjoyment that I get out of video games. Is that kind of loop of, hey, I'm making progress. Which is why, we'll pull it back to Life is Feudal here, which is why if you're developing a game like this, I think right now, the way I'm playing it, well, let's take a step back. In theory, you always have that in a game like this. In theory. But because of the way the game is set up, I think they do a poor job of setting that up, and I'll explain why in a second. In theory, I'd be going through each one of these and saying, like, okay, well, I have enough resources to put up another shack, I'll put up another shack, and I'm like, well, okay, now I have a pretty good number of people, I'm getting a lot of resources and piling them up, so I can afford to build houses now. And then you say, okay, well, now I can build large houses. Or maybe hostels, I don't know. But you'd go step by step, like there'd be a progression from small town to big town. There'd be a progression. The only progression that exists in this game is research from the castle and expeditions from the port. And neither one of those is gating for anything. They're just improvements. And honestly, I'm unconvinced that any of the stuff from the port is worth anything except for the animals. I think you start with chickens. What do you start with? You start with chickens. So, like, getting cows and stuff is handy because then you have milk and things like that. But it's not... nothing's really gated behind that. You don't need to have the different pies. You don't need to have milk. It doesn't stop you from doing anything. It's just another thing to have. So, while this game, in theory, has that kind of progression, and you say, okay, well, you're always doing something because you always have the option of building another shack or whatever. And then eventually when you're big enough, you just build houses because you have so many resources you can afford to build. Like, it doesn't... In theory, it would ramp up, but because there's no gating mechanism on any of it, and there's no progression, there's no actual progression through the buildings or tech or whatever you want to call it in the game, you don't have that. So you wind up with situations like with me here, where really I'm just sitting here with a minuscule number of people building the best house in the game and upgrading it because the game lets me, so why would I ever not do that? This is objectively, this is the best housing. This is the best variety of housing because it gives the most happiness to its residents, which I think matters from a work efficiency standpoint, but it's not clear. And it houses a pretty good number of people. And that's it. There's no reason for me to ever... Once I know that, why would I ever build a shack? Why would I ever build a hut? There's no reason. So that's what this game is missing from a progression standpoint, and I think that ties into that reward loop, because this is the only way you fail with a game like this, is when you have dead time, when the player really just has to wait. Some of that's my fault. I'm choosing to wait, but I'm choosing to wait because based on the game's rules, this is the most effective choice. I'm playing the game, you know? You make a castle smithy. I think we just build this and then move it later. I don't feel good about doing this though. Yeah, we'll throw it down there. I don't feel good about doing this because I don't feel like I'm gonna have the resources to actually do anything with that. In fact, I'm gonna pause it for now. I don't want that. I want it to be built because that will help everything else speed up, but I don't want it to be built right now because I need the house to finish first. Because that's going to give me more of a speed boost than anything else. Unfortunately, it's not going very quickly. We're about 100 off on both clay and stone. We have enough of everything else, but that's... Clay and stone are the issue here. And it is almost dead on. Oh no, never mind, there's less clay. 60 clay and 100 stone. Technically 96 stone, but whatever. That's not the point. So yeah, these are the things... I guess closing point on this, and I've gone really... I should collect all my individual little analyses about this game and put them in one contiguous thing. When you get down to it, I think what it boils down to is that this game is what happens when you look at another game and then make a game based on that, instead of looking at a genre and saying, why is this fun? How can I make it the most fun? And I think the correct thing to do is look at a genre or a mechanic and say, how can I make this as entertaining and as fun as possible? And it depends what kind of entertaining you're going for. In a game like this, you're really looking for management gameplay, basically. Maybe a little bit of other stuff, but mostly management gameplay. So really the most important thing there is what I said, which is you just need to keep making progress. You don't ever want the player to stall out. You always want them to have, okay, what's the next thing? What can I start building next? You don't want them to put something down and then wait 30 minutes for it to finish. And you could say, again, well, Moose, why did you put down a large house when you have 12 people then? You chose this life for yourself. Technically, yes, you're correct, but again, the game isn't stopping me from doing that, and by the game's own rules, this is the best choice. Everything else is objectively a waste of resources. Yes, it will get me there faster, maybe, but at the end of the day, I don't want to have any huts or tents. They don't help. They're not the right option, so why would I waste my time going for something inferior? So the game set it up such that this was the right choice, in my opinion. And that's where the game fails. Or one of the ways in which I've outlined many ways in which the game fails. And it's not a bad game. I want to clarify. I'm not saying the game is bad because of this. I'm saying the game could be better if this was handled better. As far as whether the game is good or bad, I don't know if I actually know yet. I know that's ridiculous coming from someone who has 250 episodes and something, which equates to... how much playtime now? It's a lot less than I expected. But just in episodes, if they're 20 minutes each, that's 5,000 minutes or 83 hours. I would say the game is good, but you can only say that because there isn't better in the market. That's all it boils down to. Like, any good developer could come along and blow this out of the water, like, easy. I could do it. I can't program, but if you gave me people who would do what I told them to make, then easy, I could blow this out of the water. But I don't have money for that. But that's tying it all back in. That's one of the reasons why I would like to be wealthy, so that I can afford to say, this is stupid, I could do better than this, and then hire a couple people and say, yeah, do better than this. Here's how you do it. Make this game. And then we'd be fine. It'd be a perfect... maybe, I'm sure it wouldn't be perfect, but it'd be a hell of a lot better than this, that's all. Which, again, isn't to say that this is bad, it's just... It's okay, and it's the best that's on the market. That's the biggest issue. The big issue is it's the best that's on the market. And this is definitely a niche genre, but gosh, someone could do so much better than this. And one day they will. Hopefully. But that is going to do it for today's episode, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you'll join us in the next one as well. If you did enjoy it, feel free to come by twitch.tv/electronicmoose, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. PST, 9 to 11 p.m. EST, and check out a stream if you like. If not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.